Hello, Tim.
Hello, Willem.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. It's episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good episode.
good episode. This is gonna be
I don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But with that, welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm Willem,
I'm Tim.
and this is Hear Me Out Pitch. Thank you all for joining us. That was a good intro. We'll do it. Maybe we will do the intro before the music someday. I don't know. We haven't been doing this long, but almost 2 months, which is weird. 2 more episodes, and we're in the double digits of episodes, which is crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh. Well, Tim, we'll cut straight to it. What are we doing today?
Okay, so we're going to do a little bit different of an episode. This episode came up with a little bit more short notice and less time to prepare, and so we're going to do more of a movie review.
Yeah.
Of sorts, although I mean, obviously, I feel like we'll have ideas for a new pitch come up as we talk, but yeah, and we're gonna watch Fantastic Four, the original, the 2005 movie, and yeah. Watching it today, it hurt my soul.
Really?
I don't hate the movie itself.
Okay.
I hate the acting. They did I don't know. There was a lot of like.
I hate Doctor Doom.
I don't like Vic. I don't like Vic. I also feel like The Thing. I feel like Ben is a little bit. The actor is a little bit too dramatic with his scenes, I feel like. And it's clobbering time.
That of course. Okay,
Made
I will
me
say
cringe.
and watching that too, I was like, oh, but I will say that I think Ben was the highlight of the movie for me.
I agree. I just think the acting could have been better.
The
story is fantastic.
In 2 years from now, this movie's 20 years old. That freaks me out. This movie is kids born when this movie came out are adults. Like, it is. That freaks me out because I was 10.
I was 4.
Oh.
And I remember watching it for the first time. I don't know how old I was. I was young. If I'm remembering right, which I'm probably not, I think I was younger than 8 because I had watched it. I think I watched it back when I was living in Holiday with my parents.
Oh.
Forever ago. We moved in with my grandparents when I was 8. So I'm pretty sure we watched this before that.
No, it is definitely the cheesiest of the cheese. And it's weird because 2.5 years later, Iron Man would release.
Yeah.
Which is a big night and day difference. And like a year after this, or the same year, Batman Begins would release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That was
the
05.
cartoon.
The cartoon just started, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That show I did not watch until I was in junior high. So it was
same.
I
was 14.
Yeah.
And it immediately became my favorite show.
It's all the comic books I have.
Oh yeah.
Debating on getting the Lotus tile tattooed on me, but I probably won't. But still would like it. Still love that. But yeah, this is insane how old it is. And I remember, this is something else I remember, is that, actually I want to see while we got it here on Disney Plus, Rise of the Silver Surfer came out in, 2007. So like a year later we would get, or like around that time we would get Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And then, right after Iron Man 2. No, not after Iron Man 2. Yeah, right after Iron Man 2 and Thor, we got announced that Chris Evans would become Captain America. And I remember sitting in my orthodontist office. I was getting dropped off to get braces worked on, and in junior high, and I remember reading that Chris Evans had been cast, and I said, no, can't be him. He had just finished in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which, but this really was a redeeming quality for him. But it freaks me out that he went from this movie from this character right to Captain America. I thought it was a bigger gap. No,
and it's a night and day difference. They are completely different characters.
And Chris Evans can be the Playboy. I will admit that he is a good Johnny Storm. If they did a parallel universe in if they had this Fantastic Four in the Secret Wars, if they pulled Jessica Alba out of retirement and she was Sue Storm, I would watch it. I would be stoked, because if they could because they have Elektra coming back for Deadpool 3, they have so many, like Jessica Gardner's coming back for Deadpool 3. I don't know. I think that a lot of these actors have grown, they've gotten better, and if they could receive a second chance, I think they could deliver it, because they looked the part. Anyway, that was a little sidetrack of getting going, but I think that, in short, to me, this movie was strong when it came to The Thing, and it had really good points of what it meant to be the Fantastic Four, but because of Doom and a few other things, the movie really just fell flat.
Yeah.
We'll have to do the Ghost Rider someday.
Oh, man. Back when they'd spend money on CGI.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The little bit they had for that movie.
The little bit they had, but I will say that the heart of these early characters, they kind of nailed. Daredevil with Ben Affleck, he really got the heart of the character down. Was it the best? No, but did it show potential to the character and show that Daredevil could be represented? Sure. Punisher, same thing. Fantastic Four, same thing. They had the heart. The villains, though, those were very weak, just like we see in most comic book movies, because they get killed off so fast.
Yeah.
So they're Disney villains. They don't last, and that's why they're not that
Disney
strong.
Villains.
That's why sometimes we get very lame villains, because they're great for a few scenes, but Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog, he would never have come back. I would have loved to see him come back in some way, but they're just Disney villains, and they don't ever really come back. So it's hard. It's hard doing a villain if it's just going to be a one movie. I don't know.
It is very difficult. Being an author, a writer, a story writer, being a dungeon master as well, creating a villain that feels like a villain and doesn't feel like, oh, this is just a roadblock for our main characters. It's very, very difficult, especially to make the villains seem inhuman. I feel like with Harry Potter, Voldemort is a fantastic villain, right? J.K. Rowling did a fantastic job writing a good villain who would appear often, but could never be quote unquote defeated completely, right? I will say Dolores Umbridge, I hate her more than I hate Voldemort.
If there was a room with Dolores Umbridge and Voldemort,
I'd shoot Dolores
twice. Voldemort, we could figure something out, but there's no. Oh.
Yeah, I hated Umbridge, and that's the thing. The actress that played Dolores Umbridge, she did such a fantastic job personifying that character, becoming the character for the movies. And like I said, I hate her as a character, not as a concept. The concept's fantastic. But
Oh, yeah.
as a character, I hate her. I want to punch her smug little face. And
She was the worst parts of wizarding, of the wizard world. Um,
and it just made the wizarding world feel a little bit more real, because it's like, obviously in our day and age we have to deal with people similar, right? A lot of times we refer to them as Karens.
yeah.
And I think Umbridge was the ultimate Karen.
And even just inflect no, sorry, I don't even know what word I was trying to say, but like a representation of just a two-faced system of censorship, like, oh, this is for your own good, and everything had like a reason. Like, what about the test we'll take? What are we going to learn? What about defending ourselves? There's nothing to worry about. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. I was like, oh my gosh, like it's just it's scary when you have such, I don't know the words for it, like when you bring something so real that we have seen in the history of our world, that we still see in some countries today, and you're just like, this is scary. And if
Yeah.
you, like Hunger Games, Hunger Games, absolutely, I'm like, I do not ever want this ever. And it's just terrifying.
Coin was the real villain. Let's be honest.
I haven't read it in so long. You know, sadly,
She's the leader of the 13th district.
dude, if she's in the third book, I never finished the third book.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
she's in the third book.
Okay, I got to,
Okay.
I read it to halfway, like, stuff had happened. I think someone was brainwashed. I don't remember. Everyone listening is going to be like, well, how did you not finish? I still haven't seen all the movies, because it was hard. I will say the second Hunger Games was my favorite. And I will say, quick pause about the podcast. This episode was kind of spur of the moment, but I have been wanting to do just a discussion episode for a while. So I will say we're not sitting here like, oh, we're not prepared and we didn't do anything. It's just we wanted a discussion, and also...
also we didn't have tons of time to prepare
a big one.
Pitch episode.
So we were kind of, a lot's happened. We were like, is this discussion week? This is discussion week.
Yep.
And sometimes you get burned out after making big, giant pitches.
Creating your own story from existing characters.
This has made me realize that I have to give a little respect to writers, to big Hollywood writers, because this is a lot. But
I mean, also, you and I are coming up with these pitches in like a week. And
Imagine-
they're far better than the actual movies.
in our opinion,
In our opinion. In our opinions, yes.
I will say, I loved my Spider-Man pitch, and
I
I would have
also
loved to
loved your
see that on the
Spider-Man.
big screen. So
I agree.
hashtag go listen to all the last episodes. Well, that being said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the movie. Don't worry, we'll have it on mute so you all don't hear it. Someday we do hope to possibly do videos, and we have it up, and you guys can either watch along or hear it along. I don't know, but for now, we're doing more of just discussion, notes we thought about, discuss for like an hour or so, and then be done. So with that being said, I'm gonna press play, and
Go for it.
off we stink and go.
I do have to say, before we actually get into this, we were talking about Chris Evans earlier, and you've probably heard this a million times, but when I first saw you, I was like, is that Chris Evans?
No one's ever told me I look like Chris Evans.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think the first time I saw you, you didn't have your glasses on. And it also, like, I don't know, your face shape and the beard and everything, you just looked like Chris Evans.
Oh,
And then-
stop.
Yeah. And
Well-
the more that I've gotten to know you, the more I've been like, oh, he could be Chris Evans.
No, I am not Chris Evans. Oh my gosh, don't freaking eat. Well, thank you, Tim. I will take that compliment because he is a man. I will say, but I will say that he is a great villain in Knives Out and The Gray Man on Netflix. Oh, great villain. Chris Evans he's a good actor, and these movie series almost ruined him, but
Well, and he's such a good actor that even in these movies, with the terrible acting and I think just the terrible direction that they were given for these movies, he still played his part perfectly.
Oh, Johnny Storm, he was
Johnny Storm.
When I think of Johnny Storm, I still see Chris Evans in my head.
Yeah.
I would love to see Captain America come out from hiding wherever he's at. I don't know. Marvel's been weird. But if we had Captain America come back for a brief stint in Secret Wars and had his Human Torch meet, I would die. Because everyone go, you two look like each other. Yeah, it's fine. Because they did it in the CW Arrowverse.
Yeah.
With the man who played Superman in Superman Returns. He also plays the Atom. And it was funny because he walks... one of the characters walks in and goes, dude, have you been working out? You're huge. He's like, no, this is actually a different version of Clark. So technically he's Kara's cousin. And they were like, what? And then they meet each other and they're like, dude, it's like a freaky mirror. And it was just like, it's silly, same actor. But yeah, I honestly do like him as Superman. Oh, I'm nervous about the new Superman movie. I watched a great video about that, and I'll have to send it to you. I watched it yesterday, and I was like, oh. Did you see the new Batman? With Robert Pattinson? Tim, do you like Batman?
Batman's cool.
You're fired. I'm just kidding.
I definitely... I don't know. The Dark Knight series is awesome. I love the Dark Knight series.
Okay, then I think you'll like this one. It's long, but I will say I've
heard it's dark.
Yeah.
It's even for a Batman movie, it's dark.
It's dark. It's a ground. Tim, it's one of my favorites. I have to watch again, but it's just long. That's my only thing about it is it's long, but it's a great Batman movie. But we're not here to talk about Batman. We're here to talk about why the heck is Dr. Doom some crazy CEO dude? I get the businessman thing, but this was more of this guy should have been Lex Luthor, if anything.
Yeah.
Or Norman Osborn, but Dr. Doom, no.
No, I feel like, honestly, I feel like Dr. Doom would have been better as just a scientist, not a CEO.
And I don't know.
Being the CEO, it makes sense. Lots of money. He's rich, right? He's able to procure his suit, whatever, his mask. But at the same time, I don't know. And we never see real intent behind Victor Von Doom.
And I will say, I hate that the layout of his building is the Doom mask. All the elevators are metal sheets with big giant bolts, and they make the kind of cheek shape of the mask. If you were to put eye holes on that elevator, you get the mask. And I just was like, that's a little much. If Dr. Doom is supposed to be a purely Latvian man who ended up in America, depending on which comics you read, but he's supposed to be an immigrant, very smart, goes to school with Reed Richards, and I wish they would have had maybe that. I wish we would have had maybe younger, or we would have already had a scarred Dr. Doom who, we have the beginning of the movie could have been them working together, growing up, and he gets horribly scarred, and then later on he sees him again. He's covered up his face. But I don't know how well you know Dr. Doom's history, but he actually is a lot like Doctor Strange. He's actually older than Doctor Strange character-wise, by a year. Mm-hmm. He gets scarred by Richards when they're in college, gets I don't know. They were both scientists.
At MIT, I believe.
Yeah. Gets kicked out because of immoral practices. Gets scarred and he blames Richard for it, even though it was his fault. Goes on a big finding himself journey. Goes to Tibet. They teach him magic. They help him build his suit and mask. So I don't know how we would do that for like a modern day, but I feel like if they did introduce Doctor Doom, he needs to study under Doctor Strange for a bit.
Yeah, I think that could work really well.
He needs to go to that sanctuary.
Yeah.
If we were to drop this into the MCU, I feel like Doctor Doom, Victor, sorry, he's not Doctor yet, but Victor Von Doom needs to, and Doctor Strange needs to have very similar thing happen to him, gets scarred, and goes on this journey, blames Reed, and Doctor Strange tries to help him, and we kind of get his journey, and he, instead of becoming like strange and good, kind of does the darker path and shows that. So that's how I would do it in the MCU. Doctor Strange is the one that makes Doom, or at least plays a part in it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess now we have to create a pitch for Doctor Doom. Just his own movie.
Yeah, it honestly would have to be his own movie. Because it's so much, especially if you want to make him a big bad villain. It needs to be, I don't know, we could probably make it like Thanos, or at least have him in the background. Like, if they could have just dropped him somehow into Multiverse of Madness, have him be one of the people. Did you see Multiverse of Madness? Dang it, Tim! Well, anyway, there's there's an instance where they're at the sanctuary, and if he could have just been one of the characters that Strange and Wong are teaching, that would have been awesome. Like, at the end of the movie, been like, have you met our young associate? And he's covered in a bandage or like a hood, like the iconic hood, and he looks up and he says, "What's your name?" Victor Von Doom. Like something like that. Like, there's a lot we can do with that because he is a mystical villain.
Yeah.
He's smart as Reed Richards, but he's also mystical. And that's why he's so scary.
It's like you said, he is like he's like Doctor Strange, where he has magic and brains.
He's so scary, guys. Like, he is one of the best villains in the MCU. Like, there's a reason and he's one of Marvel's oldest. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby worked really hard on this character. And this interpretation of him just he's technically doesn't get infected at all in the early variants. Dr. Von Doom was not on the ship with them. They were just a pilot, the lead scientist, and the two assistants. I forgot what Johnny's role was. He might have been helping Ben.
I thought he was the pilot.
Ben was always the original pilot. He was flying and he got hit with it because it came through the front.
Gotcha.
So Ben always is the one that gets hit with it the most. The Thing. We will talk more about it because The Thing is one of my favorites. I love The Thing a lot. I love the Fantastic Four. They are old. They are the ones that a lot of characters would interact. Like, the Fantastic Four comics are what introduced Spider-Man. They're what introduced Doctor Doom, introduced Doctor Strange. They are like the original Marvel team.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're essentially the original Avengers.
Yes.
Which, and I wish that they were more involved with the Avengers. Even if they were just their own team doing their own thing elsewhere, fighting other villains, whatever. I still think they need to be at least present.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I can imagine... I'm imagining Endgame and Infinity War, right? And they're in there helping fight Thanos, right? Or they're helping take care of some of the other things just around the world while the Avengers are focused on Thanos. I don't know. Because we had these movies and then they vanished. They just didn't exist.
Well, that's because of a lot of things with Sony and and it's just there's so much with who owns what rights to which characters, and there's so much to do. But now that Marvel has them back, which is shocking that they were gone because they are the oldest team of Marvel. Don't quote me on that. I am fairly certain they are. I'll say this: they are one of the oldest superhero teams in comic books, as well as just in general comic books. The Fantastic Four is old.
Yeah, well, and they are old, and they kind of set a standard for what superheroes should look like, but at the same time, that standard kind of got left behind with, especially when Iron Man and Captain America and all of them started making it to the big screen. I feel like that's probably about when we left behind the Fantastic Four.
Well, we did have the 2011 one?
It was 2015.
2015? Oh, was I? I was gone. I was in another country. So, yeah, I had no idea that movie was happening. And again, that was funny because the Human Torch in that movie got a second chance redemption and became one of the best villains ever, Killmonger. So Michael B. Jordan was a good Johnny Storm. He was good. It was different, and I did like how they still kept them as siblings in a very unique way. And we'll see what happens in the future with them. I still think the closer you get to original is better. But if you are successful with good, if you can get, because Hugh Jackman is 6'4", Wolverine the character is 5'4", so it doesn't matter. People can always complain about they don't look like them, whether it be skin, gender, whatever. If you get an actor that can do it right and give a good performance, I will give them a chance. I do prefer, as a big fanboy, to get as close to what I have in my head as you can, but if you can prove me wrong, I can change it. Because now Wolverine in my head, he's taller, but technically, in most comic book instances, the dude's shorter than me. He's about, he's in between. He's probably shorter than both of us. Like he's a short.
It's hard to be shorter than me and you. But I think he is.
He is. He's 5'4". He is a tiny man. The thing is, though, he weighs like 300 pounds, and he fights the Hulk, who is almost 8 feet. Like it's anyway. Who would you pick as your Fantastic Four in Doctor Doom?
Oh,
I will say I have at least one person for Doctor Doom in my head. He's been Doctor Doom in my head for years, and I'm really mad at myself because I can't think of his name, but he played Scarecrow in the Christopher Nolan movies, and he just was in Oppenheimer. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah. I think actor-wise, I'd probably keep the Fantastic Four. I think I'd probably keep those same actors.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy. Sorry. I would change, because Cillian Murphy could have been Doctor Doom back then for this.
Yeah. Doctor Doom is the only one that I would change. And I would definitely change Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I want him to be a little bit more menacing.
Okay.
I don't want him to be the pretty boy, you know?
No. Especially if he gets, I want him to be handsome, but we don't want, I don't know. And I don't even remember that. I should have looked up the actor and what else he's been in, because I don't think I've seen him in anything else. So it's just crazy. Oh, and the connection between Sue and Reed, I liked it to some degree. But yeah, it's just cheesy. So cheesy. But it's 2005, and rom-coms were just ginormous and huge back then. But,
it's Julian McMahon is the actor that plays Victor Von Doom. He's in. I've never heard of any of these movies.
That's how I feel. Like most of the movies we know, we won't get. I will say I did like Doom. I liked the Doom in that. I liked how he did Doom in the second one more. I don't know if you've seen the second one, but when he gets the Silver Surfer's powers, I was like, now that is how Doom should be. Tone back the powers a little bit, make them magic. That's the Doom I wanted. That
without the Silver Surfer's powers.
Yes, without the Silver Surfer
that
powers.
should just be who he is.
Yes.
Innately.
Silver Surfer though was awesome. I love the Silver Surfer, and
The execution of that movie failed.
It did. But the Silver Surfer, every scene with the Silver Surfer shined for me. Every time he was on screen, I was like, thumbs up. He never disappointed me. His tone, the voice, the part when he just grabs Johnny. No, when he's flying, phases into his surfboard and ends up being upside down, and Johnny's like, okay, that was cool. Like, that scene to me is just ingrained in my head. But them turning Johnny into like a Super Skrull and him absorbing all their powers, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the Skrulls are kind of the Fantastic Four's big enemies. Like, the Super Skrull hated the Fantastic Four. And I know that the Silver Skrull is in Secret Invasion. And I know I need to watch it, but I know I'm going to punch somebody.
Yep.
Not going to punch anybody. That's mean. Probably punch a pillow. Probably cry into a pillow. Probably cry. Just cry. It's...
I'll probably just cringe, honestly.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Say, watching this movie after a few of the current Marvel movies, I go, hey, you know what? There's a lot of things in this movie that I like a lot more than current Marvel.
I have to agree. I think, honestly, this movie is better than some of the most recent movies that we've had.
I was really,
in general,
I was really enjoying it. I think the part where it got weird was Act 3, kind of. I don't know. I will say that Ben is still the highlight for me. I know it's hard to act as the Thing. I don't know how else to do it and you're right. There are some cheesy lines. It's clobbering time. And it's because when there's no way to naturally say that because it's such a 60s thing, but you have to put it in there somehow because it's just iconic. Like the way they did Hulk Smash in not the Mark Ruffalo, but, I can't remember his name at the moment. Oh, no. The second Incredible Hulk, the one that came out at the same time as Iron Man. When they put when he yells Hulk Smash, that was awesome, but Hulk can do that. When Captain says, Hulk, smash, that was funny. I was like, that was a clever way to do that. But it's clobbering time. How do you put that in there naturally?
You don't.
You don't. Unless you say...
It's clobbering time doesn't... I don't know. What time is it? It's clobbering time? I don't know.
Like, there's nothing... Unless they gave us some context to it, like maybe having, Ben was an astronaut that... trained really hard. Maybe back before he was a star athlete, he was a football player, and he was known as the cobbler. I can't think of it. The cobbler. I don't know how you would say it, but maybe that was a phrase he said back in his football days. Like, oh, it's oh my gosh,
the clobberer.
Clobberer. I cannot clobber. Everyone's probably dying right now. Like, dude, he cannot talk. Just make it natural. The only way they did it in this movie was, Johnny walks up with the toy. He's like, dude, check this out. Press the button. It's clobbering time. And you're like, that. But why was that? But why did the toy say that? Where did that line come from? Like, it was just so.
Well, honestly, it probably came from Johnny.
Yeah, but maybe and see that could have worked better if he's like, go on, say something iconic, like. You're going to clobber me or something? Come on, buddy, it's clobbering time. And he goes, yeah, maybe it is, Johnny. Maybe it is clobbering time. And then, have a fight with him teasing like that. And then that comes up naturally.
That could make it work.
It needs to have been brought up before in a natural way. Like, they're, sitting, maybe, when Ben first turns into Rock and Reed's sitting down with him and he goes, come on, dude. You gotta remember back when you were college. You were like brave and stupid. He's like, oh, come on, dude. I don't want to talk about my football days. I had that stupid cheer that they would do. And they're like, oh, come on, Ben. You know you love that cheer. Come on. He's like, no, Reed, don't say it. Come on, dude. Don't say it. It's clobbering time. Like, just something like that. They should have made it naturally put in there. Like, said it early on with a backstory, whether it be Johnny teasing him, whether it be a memory from when he was younger in his football days, because Ben was a star, and became you don't become an astronaut without being some form of either genius or star athlete. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, so many things with this movie, and there's so much that I wish we could have changed differently, but the acting is the cheese.
It's the cheesiest. I think it's probably just from that time. And probably...
I don't know. Have you seen the second X-Men movie?
Yeah, no, I haven't, but I'm familiar.
Okay, the scene where they are sneaking into Xavier's mansion, because Stryker, the man who helped experiment on Logan, he has brought a force to come in, and they are taking and they start shooting the kids with darts to knock them out. And one of my favorite parts is Colossus comes into a room and they start shooting at him. His skin turns metal and he just stares at him. Next scene is them flying through the door, not moving. And then the next scene you see Logan and he goes into it. This is the first time we've ever seen a berserker mode, and we see him jumping around. If they would have added any blood, that movie would have been rated R, because that fight scene he does was awesome. Little 8-year-old me was like, this is the best Wolverine ever! Like, I was dying. That scene in the theater, I will never forget. And the beginning scene with Nightcrawler. Oh, so, for you to say that it was just the time period, I agree to some... Did I say I agree to some agree? Whatever.
You agree to disagree.
I agree to disagree.
Uh-huh.
But to a point, because there was a lot of cheese back then, and
yes,
they really... Oh, Victor, every time he comes on. Why does he have static electricity? Why is he static shock? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Why is he turning metal? Well, they made it interesting that he was in the hull plating. He was in the protective part, and his skin started to become that.
Become that plating.
But no, Dr. Doom's suit is just a suit, and it helps him stay strong. It helps Dr. Doom live for so long. Like, the dude can be 80 years old and he can still kick butt because of this suit. So, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's infused with magic in some parts of the comic. He's such an old character. They could have done anything with it, but I understand the CGI, the magic. It would have been weird for back then, but just so cheesy. The cheese. Oh, and here we have Ben turning into the Thing. Which his character is so tragic. You ever watch a regular show?
Yeah.
For anyone that's watched regular show, the Thing is just basically Skips. Because he's not going to die. He's immortal. He's not going to age. He's rock. He will live on. In some variants of the comics, there's characters like Spider-Man 2099. I'm pretty sure he meets Ben Grimes. And it's just the same one. I love the Thing. I can go on for a whole hour about how...
This part's gross.
The hand going up the door.
Going under the door.
But it's what he would have done. It's how it works. And the CGI isn't...
It's not bad for that time.
It's aged decently.
Like, it looks weird, of course, and it's always going to. It reminds me... it reminds me of Toy Story. Of Woody's hand.
Oh!
How it looks plastic.
Yep.
Which is kind of the point. He's Mr. Fantastic. He's a plastic man. He's rubber. Whatever. But...
You know, what they do to what it does to all of them. And I think, I forgot how their powers kind of went in with all of them. Because it's like a manifestation of each of their personalities and traits as well as what they were doing. Because I think Ben was piloting. In some versions, he's piloting or he is getting a sample because he's piloted, and then he's helping get a sample of space rock, gets hit, and the rock infuses with him. Johnny is near the back of the plane, the back of the jets, and fire kind of lights him up for a tiny bit. Susan gets hit by some force, and it like changes her. She gets distorted by light, and then poor Reeds is just getting hit by a lot of gravity and slowly stretches. Like a lot of different variations of how they change. But all in all, their powers are pretty dang cool.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Susan, right, Invisible Girl, has the same powers as Violet Parr,
Yep.
as Violet from The Incredibles, which I think is awesome. Like they're taking, obviously you take inspiration for your new characters from the old stories, right? And it's the same thing. Like Elastigirl is Mr. Fantastic, just womanized.
Just womanized.
Yes, I don't know.
Yes. No, just as a woman, I guess. I love Elastigirl. She is awesome. Not just because I had a big crush on her as a little kid, but they animated her way too. The part where she's walking around and checks herself out in the mirror, I was like, when I was little, I was like, that's stupid. When I got older, I was like, that is like way too much. Oh, Ben's poor wife. I feel so bad for him. I'm glad. I used to hate the focus that they did on Ben, but really, he really got the worst of it. He got the shaft when it came to this power display.
He did. He drew the short end of the stick. And it's honestly, the way his wife reacts is terrible. Like the fact that, I don't know, like she saw him and then now she's like, don't touch me, right? I don't know.
I think it's
Ben deserved somebody that would have been more supportive, more caring, that would have actually loved him for who he is. Because he's already an older bald dude, you know, and
I wish they would have shown temper. Yeah. And I wish they would have shown his I wish that we would have gotten a little more background. Like that's what we could have cut out a few of the scenes, like Johnny on the motorcycle. We could have cut out a few more things and gotten like a beginning to all these characters, a better introduction. Because I felt like the beginning was just like Ben and Reed. Like, why was Ben at that business meeting? Like, why was he a part of it? Like, he could have been sitting there waiting outside, but we could have gotten them their backstories, Ben being an astronaut, how he trained, blah, blah, blah. Or talking about his wife, because this is the first time we see the actress and she's screaming and crying and the whole audience is going, I don't really care. I'm not connected to that character. I wish they would have given us a strong connection and made us love Debbie and then rip our hearts out.
Yeah.
Because I still felt bad for Ben. But it didn't feel... It felt like if they would have got me attached more to Deb, because they only show that picture and that's it. I wish we would have seen Deb talking to him before he left, or having that strong connection, or she's always by his side and she's constantly saying like, I love you no matter what, please return home to me, blah blah blah. And then for him to get disfigured and her freak out, like that could have been so much better.
Yeah.
And this scene, the rescue, I love and hate it.
I have a love-hate relationship with this.
Because it's so dumb that Ben is the cause of it. Like right here, he crushes this truck This dude ain't living.
No.
No. He would have been more banged up. And then all this, and on this like small bridge, like I did think it was sad that Ben was sitting at the edge of the bridge, but I felt like we could have gotten something else. Like maybe Ben is running away still. Ben just got told, and the rest of the team is looking for him. And then we have, New York fashion. We have like a bomb robbery. We have an actual accident on the bridge that Ben didn't cause, and Ben's like, "Oh, I gotta help. I gotta do something because I don't know." Like maybe like a bus of little kids is falling. I don't know, some cliche stuff. But to show his strength. To show him trying to help. Like I loved it. Or like Johnny. Oh, this scene. This was so dumb to me. Oh, we need a way to get past the, and I understand Jessica Alba back in the day and still to this day is a heartthrob. She is a beautiful woman. But I realize now that like this is so dumb that they have her stripping at a part like this. Like, it would have been better if... You know how you compared her to Violet?
Yeah.
You know how Violet, like, is listening to... Like, watching Tony Reidinger, and she's just, like, covering her shoulders, and then he walks away, and it shows that she was invisible, but her clothes are still visible. Or how she was hiding from her parents.
Yeah.
Like, we could have gotten a few scenes like that, but... We could have had a scene where something happened, like, where it was the robbery... And we have her sitting there watching something, and like, I gotta get in there, or I gotta do something, and we get implied that she's stripping, or we do see, or we see like a trail of clothes, and then later on they're like, "Has anyone seen Sue?" And she's like, "Guys, can you get me something?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like behind like a court, like something like that. We don't need to see her in her. I don't know. I just found it because like. She's like, "Excuse me, pardon me," and then they just follow her. I don't know. I just, looking back at it now, I'm like,
yeah,
so dumb.
I agree. I think it was
just purely for eye candy, and I get it, but I realize how stupid, and this is the problem. This is why the Barbie movie was made. Oh, but yeah, I don't get it because now she's in clothes again, and it was like that was a waste of time. You got past the crowd. And it was so dumb. Like, I wish she would have... Like, they could have had, like, a robbery. She could have snuck up on someone. Something. Or done the force field. Like, the force field would have been more important. But I will say, Johnny saving this little girl was awesome.
I agree.
This is what it means to be the Fantastic Four. And I wish Johnny would have thought about that more.
I think it would have made for a really good character arc.
Yeah, a turning point.
Right? Like, he saves the little girl, and then maybe the little girl after all of this can be like, "You saved," or like her mom could be like, "You saved my daughter, thank you so much." And then
I don't know. Like,
I don't know. And then he can come back to it later. Remembering it later, maybe he flies off after having that fight with Ben later, right? And he's just angry, and then we see that flashback, and he's like, "Well, maybe I'm not living up to what I should be. Maybe I'm not being the hero I should be."
It is cheesy, but Spider-Man's quote is very simple. For all superheroes. It's just with great power comes great responsibility. And that is something that all heroes and all what we can take in everyday life as humans is, when you have a lot of power thrust upon you, you have a responsibility to do it. Because if you waste that responsibility, then, what does that make you? So, I feel like with Johnny, this rescue scene would have been great near the end of the movie. I feel like if they did a Fantastic Four movie, it needs to be them working together to try to figure out their powers. And maybe near the end of the movie, you have a catastrophe going on,
Uh-huh.
or you have them getting healed. And they have this decision. They have this choice to become normal again, or we have like a catastrophic event and we can have a cameo of other heroes, and the Fantastic Four come to help
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the movie. And we see them introduce ourselves. We see them talking to Anthony Mackie's Captain America. Something like that. Like something's going on. They need help. There's just an earthquake or a bomb. Something's happened. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be a big villain, but it could be small time villains. We have a lot of those in the Marvel Universe. They could be causing trouble, and we just get like a cameo of certain heroes they're fighting, and we have like an accident happening, and the thing goes to help the car falling off a bridge because we don't have a Hulk anymore. It feels like we do still have. I don't know what Marvel's doing anymore, and
I don't know.
That's why
the problem.
that's the problem. Is I don't know how to do this because I don't know what Marvel is doing anymore, and that's what bugs me, and that's why I'm terrified to watch Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this scene, I was tearing up last night,
It hurts.
and because it's so good. It's the scene where Ben's wife leaves the ring on the floor, which I honestly liked it.
I thought that. I think it fits, and I think it's a very good scene. It just hurts. It hurts your soul, dude.
And I think that, and this might be a personal question, but you are a newly married man, and if something happened to you, and you were either disfigured or, heaven forbid, just anything that can relate to Ben, and your wife looked at you in shock and left, how you can't even imagine. I
don't
will say,
want to imagine.
and I can't, and I want to make it clear, I could not imagine Tim's wife. I almost said Ben's wife. Tim's wife doing that to him. She loves him. They are so cute, guys. They are so cute. Every time I see them together, I'm like, oh,
Thanks,
I want that. Oh, but seriously though, the scene where Reed comes and helps him and picks it up and puts it in his hand, I was like, okay, that's a good moment. Oh, and the publicity, this is where the movie kind of gets a little wank for me.
Yeah.
Up until this point, I was like,
public.
And because they are very public, because Reed Richards is a famous scientist, and he could have been either a boy genius or maybe he's an adult. I really want to see him as an adult. He's someone who Tony Stark, maybe he was at the Civil War, the beginning of Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was in the crowd when Tony Stark was speaking. He's probably around at that point, college. Maybe he was older at that time, so maybe he was 20, 21. It's been 6 years past, and so he's probably around maybe like 26. So we can get like a 26-something-year-old playing him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could work. As someone who was at the convention, got paid off by Tony Stark, and was like, I'm going to start my business. I'm going to get the Baxter building. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Again, I just don't know what Marvel's doing. So this is why this pitch is so hard now, because...
Yep. When the studio goes off the rails and causes problems, you can't do anything about it.
And I know it's like, well, Willem and Tim, why are you guys thinking of putting a pitch for this movie connected to the MCU? Because it's Marvel.
This is Marvel. This is part of the MCU.
To some degree.
By all technicality,
yeah.
This is part of the MCU. This is a Marvel comic.
Yeah, it's a Marvel comic. These characters could potentially be in the MCU, and we're watching this.
Now they're owned by Disney.
Yeah, if I did this as a standalone movie, I would say that Victor Von Doom wouldn't even be in the movie. He would be brought up at the end as he would be the villain in the second movie, and we get his kind of backstory for the first half or something like that. Or we see him throughout more of the movie and getting his backstory. and then fighting the Fantastic Four. And then maybe the third movie will be the final interaction between the two of them. That's how I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
So Victor Von Doom would have been the big bad. But the first movie would have just been about them becoming the Fantastic Four. No Doom.
Yeah. And you don't need... Here's a trope that I've noticed with superhero movies. You don't need a villain for a superhero movie. You just need a catastrophe of some sort. Whether it be a collapsing bridge or... I don't know, an earthquake, tsunami, whatever, natural disaster. You don't need the villain as long as you have an obstacle for the main characters to overcome that uses all of their skills together at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
The whole point of the superhero movie is to watch the superhero go from normal person at the beginning of the movie to being a hero at the end, and watching that. Oh, I miss Stan Lee.
I do too.
And
this is the only character who has a name. He's Willie, and this is actually a character Stan Lee made. He was just a mailman named Willie, and he was an old character back in the day, and Stan Lee got to play him. So Stan Lee actually played one of his characters, and it's funny because in Civil War, he's a mailman again, and so. Are you Tony Stank?
Tony Stank?
Yeah, this is Tony Stank.
It's probably the same guy.
Probably. Well, he's supposed to be he's supposed to be like the Watcher kind of person. He was, there's a lot. Oh, Ben can't get on the elevator. Like, I love the struggles that Ben goes through. Like, he can't eat. And I know, like, people kind of laughed at it, like, oh, he bit the fork in half. No, that's pretty sad. Everything we love is taken for granted. He was supposed to be a metaphor for those who have either serious burns, people who lose limbs, like everything. He is easily relatable in that sense. His life is altered so much. These three look absolutely fine, unless they're activating their powers.
Yeah.
Because Sue will turn invisible, Johnny will be on fire, and Fantastic will stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
The thing about the Fantastic Four is that it's really about Ben.
It really is.
It really is all about
Ben. He took up most of the screen time.
Mm-hmm. It's his story of learning to live with his abilities, with his new powers and his new form, his new shape. And then everybody else is just kind of a side character, almost. I don't know. It's almost like when you have the main protagonist, right, and that's the focus, but then you also have the other protagonists in that team. I don't know. I guess a good example would be, for those of you who have read Mistborn, Vin, Kelsier, Ellen, and their crew, right? We get a perspective from everybody in the crew, but in all reality, like the main character is Vin. Then we have Ellen and Kelsier in their different movies.
In the first book, Kelsier is second to Vin.
Yes. And in the second and third, it's Ellen, 100%.
Really? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
But at the same time, we also
totally
get perspectives from Doc. We get perspective from Sazed. We get perspective from TenSoon. We get perspective from
so many characters.
Everybody, really.
You know, Brandon Sanderson does that. He connects us with these characters, and that's why if any of those characters die, it hurts.
Here's a better analogy. Stormlight Archive.
Okay.
It's all about Kaladin. We are following Kaladin's story, his being able to overcome his grief and loss and pain, right? But we also have the stories for the other main characters. We have Shallan and we have Dalinar, right? But the main character, the main focus, in my opinion, the way I see it, it's Kaladin.
Yes, I believe there is. I think
there's a little bit more emphasis on Kaladin, his story, and his...
He's the one that we've been following the longest.
Yes.
But I will say this, the third book probably was Dalinar.
We do follow Dalinar more.
But I really see what you're saying. There is one character that gets the most love for the, whether it be like Infinity War. Thanos was the main character.
Absolutely.
And he was awesome. He had the most screen time. Second was Iron Man. But he had like 15 minutes less. Thanos stole that movie. It was a heist movie, and it was one of my favorite movies. Thanos winning will never... Oh, guys, the theater... Oh, for anyone who watched it in the theater, to hear the crowd just hear people sobbing, hear everyone freaking out, and for people to be confused of like what's going to happen, and I'm in the front row going, this is the end and I am happy. And then for Thanos to sit down because he won. Oh. So I feel like if I did a Fantastic Four movie, I would still keep Ben. Because he's getting the most impact. Everything is happening to him. His life has changed the most. Of course, the rest of them, their life is changing. But Ben turns it. He has the equivalent of a freak out as the Hulk. Except he has it worse because he's conscious being in that form. And also, it doesn't change. There is a version of him where he can change into a human once a year. Which, like, one day of the year, he can turn into human form. And I'm like, that's hell. That's awful. Just give me the rock monster or give me nothing. Do not make me go, oh, one day a year you get to turn. Well, that's not true, because Dr. Fate from DC, he gets to see... Okay, never mind. I don't know. That would be awful. Just one day of the year.
It would be terrible. It would make you dread every single day except that day. And then it would make you dread that day because you wouldn't be able to complete everything you would want to do while you're human in a day.
Oh, no, I feel like you'd probably do a lot of prep time and be like, all right, what are you doing this year, Ben, for your human day? Oh, well, let's go to... Sorry, it's the scene where she shoots the force field at him, and I feel like you have a lot of hostility toward me. Like, why would I know? She says that to him or something, and I do like I like somewhat of the chemistry here, but Victor should not have been in the equation at all.
No, it should have always just have been Richard and Sue.
But it's funny because she's like, Victor was never part of the equation, and it was like
Victor was trying. I guess in her eyes, yes, I can see that he wasn't actually ever. But like
for Victor Von Doom, one of the smartest men in the world, not to realize so that means they've never kissed, they've never gone on a date, they've just been receptionists and whatever. Like, it's like, to me it felt like, oh, that's dumb. They should have at least either been dating or not at all. Like, there should have been no hint or like whatever. But for him to be all like, her to be like, oh, we were nothing at all, and for Victor to be like, we've been together for 2 years, and of course she was like, at the beginning, he said, oh, we've been together for 2 years, like, as business associates, and I was like, okay, Victor, you're stupid for proposing to this woman if you haven't actually been courting. I don't care how rich you are. And even, like, it dropped the ball. They either should have been dating, or or Reed should have been dating him at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh man, Victor turning into metal. I hate it. No, he's supposed to be magic and just horribly scarred, like Phantom of the Opera type stuff. Like, he's just, my beautiful face has been destroyed. Like, I don't know. It's, every time I see this Victor Von Doom, I'm like, I can't take it seriously. Victor Von Doom.
It should have been a completely different villain, different character, not Doctor Doom.
No, it should have either been like an attack of some sort. It had been 4 years after, but it probably could have been for at least 2005. They probably could have done some sort of terrorist attack that probably might have been too soon, but I feel like it would have been real enough for 2005 that we would have been like, yeah, this is what heroes are supposed to do. This is what they're supposed to stop. This is what it means to be a hero. All that sort of thing. And they could have worked together, like Ben hugs the bomb, or Johnny flies him off, and the man explodes. I don't know. And I know that sounds very morbid, and everyone listening is like, wow, Willem. And it's like, no, well, I'm trying to think about the time. 2005, you would have had it been a terrorist attack of some sort, would have really fit back then.
I think, in my eyes, I'm going to consider him as a completely different person. This is not Dr. Doom.
No, it's not. Dr. Doom is meant to be the suit. You have Victor Von Doom, and even that isn't Victor, because Victor is supposed to be this genius who is right with Reed. He is right with Reed, and dare I say, at some points, he is smarter. He needs to prove that he is superior. He has an obsession, but yet
being the best.
But still, like a good friendship. Like, we should have had either a good friendship built somehow. Mm-hmm. Like, this man.
I think this guy, we can call him, like, I don't know, completely, it's just something else. I don't know, platinum something superhero. I don't know.
Oh, I love Jessica Alba. I had the biggest crush on her as a kid. And this scene makes more sense of her being invisible. But what bugs me is she turns invisible, they find all the clothes, and then we go to the next scene, and Susan is back in that outfit. So did she go back? Did she whatever? Did they imply that she wore the suit underneath? Like, we don't know. Because they just had talked about how the suit could absorb their powers and do that. So I wish Susan would have been like, this better freaking work, and like she's tearing off her clothes, and then it shows her enter the Baxter. Is it Baxter Building?
Baxter Building sounds...
That sounds like Buster Baxter. Buster Baxter! Piano tamer! Oh, man. Yeah, it's the Baxter Building. It's the Baxter Building. And I love how he can't... I love how Johnny can't slap out the fire. That made me laugh, because he's like trying to slap it, and it just gets bigger, and he's like, dang it! Like, that's little things like that I liked. But again, with the clothes, Susan should have disappeared from the crowd and reappeared in the Baxter Building in just the
Fantastic Four suit.
Four suit. Like, that's how it should have been. She's like, well, it works. I can tell you that. And, like, sits down. We can't leave this building. Like, stuff like that. Like, that would have made more sense. But no, she's in her normal clothes. It's... They just introduced the suits. Why don't we have them in the suits? Like, that's how I would have done it. And then she'd be like, I'm changing. I'm not wearing this ridiculous thing. And he's like, well, aren't you glad you were wearing it now? Shut up. And, like, goes off. Like, meh. But yeah, no Victor. No nothing. This little compilation of them living together, I kind of liked. I would maybe do something like that. Like Johnny using the back of the stick to get him to hit cream in his face. Mm-hmm. I liked it. I was like, that's funny. But the stretching his face
to shave was weird.
Yep.
It made me uncomfortable.
It made me uncomfy. I'm not going to say what I was thinking in my head. But it just reminds me of shaving. Johnny! Mm-hmm. I love how the Baxter Building and the Von Doom Building are like, you can see them from each other. Doom for Von Doom. Oh, why is he turning metal? Oh.
Again, just imagine that it's not Dr. Doom.
It's just some weird dude that was
some other guy that...
It was Bob.
It was Bob.
It was Bob.
It
Bob.
was Bob. Platinum Bob.
Platinum Bob.
Platinum Bob.
Platinum
that'll
Bob
be
needs
his
to be the villain. So in short, we don't have Doom. Maybe we would have had him. I would have had maybe an introduction to Doom at the beginning of MIT, and then we see him get scarred, and they talk about Victor every now and then throughout the movie. She's like, maybe we can call Victor, and he's like, we're not on speaking terms. And there's like drops of Victor every now and then. At the end of the movie, when the Fantastic Four is being announced to the world, we see Johnny light the Thor in the sky to be funny, and they have that on like a big like film crew is like filming that on the news. We see Victor Von Doom and Latveria going, look at what you've become, Reed. Time to take it all away from you. Like something like that. Like Reed Richards.
You've become so much.
And Victor Von Doom cannot allow that. Like and something like that. And everyone's in the theaters
Victor
going,
Von Doom can't be less than that.
yes, like this will not stand. Like, and people are like, well, that sounds stupid. No, that's how Doom is. If Reed Richards is doing well, Doom needs to do better. And if he's gotten powers and fame, Doom will come and be like, you did this to me, but I must thank you. Like it just, and I would make him like appear right off the bat. Like, of course, we know who the audience who he is, but he just appears, crashes some Fantastic Four party, and is bashing them aside like no one's business. Reed Richards stretches forward, and he grabs his hand, shocks him, pulls him in, pins him down, and he goes, who are you? He's like, old friend, I thought you'd recognize me. Takes off, and he's like, of course, I'm like, and he looks at him stupidly like, dude, you're wearing a mask. And he's like, oh, let me help you with that. And he takes it off, and it's just the horrible face. And he goes, Victor? And he goes, yep. Like something like that. We'll have to do it. Maybe we'll do a pitch someday.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. We just wanted to sit down and kind of watch this movie because we don't know where it would fit in today's day and age.
No.
Because do we talk about this movie as... Because I would want to add it into the MCU, but I don't know where it would go. But if I did a standalone movie, it'd be a totally different thing. But I can't help but want to put it in the MCU. So I need you to give me the assignment of what you want, and then I can come up with something. But if it was a standalone, Doom would travel on his own. But if it was the MCU, Doom would travel, study under Doctor Strange, which would be awesome. Because Benedict Cumberbatch outside of the Doctor Strange movies is awesome, and that's what's sad is both Strange movies.
I liked the first Doctor Strange movie.
I did too, but I have some gripes. But I will say that the Doom that's in Infinity War and...
You mean Strange.
What did I say?
Doom.
Doom, sorry. It's now Doom!
The Doctor Strange.
The Doctor Strange in Infinity War was way better than the Strange in the first Doctor Strange movie. And the Strange that was in No Way Home was way better than Multiverse of Madness. Oh, spoiler for you, but that's my opinion. Some of you
I think most people are probably going to agree, just based on how much everybody's been bashing on the
Phase 4 was shambles. Multiverse is hard.
No Way Home is probably the only good movie in Phase 4.
I like Shang-Chi.
Okay, and Shang-Chi. I did like Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was a good origin movie. I liked it a lot. I will say I liked Eternals more than other movies. It was just long. I would have rather have seen Eternals as a movie and Secret Invasion as a... Sorry, Eternals as a TV show and Secret Invasion as a movie.
Yeah.
That's how I would have done it. And it should have been... Nick Fury would have been the main character. They make it maybe two... I would have sat through a 2.5 hour long Secret Invasion movie, if done right.
Eternals, I agree. It was really long and it was choppy. Like it was fast. There were fast sequences, but they were all broken up by so many just really slow parts.
I loved Gilgamesh. He was my favorite character.
He was.
I need to watch more of his. Apparently, he's a famous. I do not know his ethnicity, but I'll just say he's a big Asian movie star, and he does a lot. He was in Train to. Oh, it's a zombie movie. Train to. Oh, I want to get this right. It is this. I've heard it's amazing. Train to. Yeah, Busan. 2016. It's this horror. It's insane, and he's awesome. And I'm not even gonna try to say his name, like, but it looks really good. And he's this big dude, and he's awesome. I loved him. He's also known as Don Lee, so that's what he kind of knows. Okay, he's South Korean. I didn't want to say. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Korean because South Korea gave us Squid Games, and I'm pretty sure gave us to Train to Busan because my friend Julianne, hi Julianne, loves Korean movies, and I believe she is. Julianne, don't hate me. I'm pretty sure Julianne's Korean. If it's wrong, I will come back and edit this out. I probably will anyway. But because now I'm too nervous. I get too nervous. Like I am 90% sure, but that 10% I'm scared. You know what's crazy, Tim, is the Mountain Dew thing in the back. It's Code Red. I didn't think Code Red was that old, but I do remember when Code Red first got introduced. Look at the old Xbox sign. And look at the Selby water. Oh, I'm dying. I was dying. Little, 10-year-old me inside was going, oh my gosh, the memories. Lunchables. And it's weird because I see all the adult stuff and I go, oh, that's for adults. And I'm an adult. I need an adultier adult.
We can go get Lunchables because they were technically for adults at one point.
They were for adults at one point. Honestly, if you want to do Lunchables, you just if you ever want to make a charcuterie board, you just buy a bunch of Lunchables and put them out in a tray. Perfect.
Big fancy.
Oh, look at the Bluetooth headphones that dude's using. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Oh. And I love how Bluetooth headphones disappeared. Like, 2010s came, and they just dropped. 2010 came along, and Bluetooth headphones just... By that point, they were gone. And then, wireless headphones came to play, and people were like, oh, we have headphones in our ears again, because everyone was like, this is stupid. But now, we all have... I see people on the phone like this nowadays, and I'm like, that's weird. Aww, Sue confronting Ben, or trying to. I know you're saying Ben was cheesy, and I know he had to do the gravelly voice, but he's supposed to sound like he has rocks. Yeah. Everything in him has changed. So, why does he sound so scratchy? Why does he sound so weird? He's a man made of rocks. His heart, everything. And it was so dumb that Victor just went in and killed everybody to go get tools. It's just...
He killed people to get weapons.
Not my Von Doom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, again, it's Platinum Bob. This isn't Von Doom.
No, this isn't. Bob. Doom would make weapons. He would make a freeze ray. He would make something to... He would make a chamber to lock Johnny in, to suck the air out, to make him like... and he would make something to repress Ben. Because that's what Von Doom does. Mm-hmm. He would use magic and technology to make... Because his suit... Oh, this scene, the bar scene that Ben goes to, I liked it.
I did like this scene.
Like he sits down, and this would have been a scene that would have happened at the beginning. Maybe he runs away, or he just saved... Actually, no, I feel like this would have been... I feel like if they would have announced something happened to them, and it would have been cute because they said, 4 astronauts fantastically returned, these fantastic heroes have returned home, but one has been, and Ben is, hospitalized, something like that throughout, and people know that Ben Grimes, the Mook that they all kept calling him, has returned home. Oh, I love her so much. She's so sweet. And I love how she was blind. It was so good. And I'm really terrified because I think in the second movie she's not blind. Like, I just always forgot she was blind because it felt like in the second movie she wasn't blind. I'll have to watch it again. But this actress did a good job because I know she's not blind because I've seen her in other movies. But she did a good job with her eyes and making it seem like she was blind. I was like, I know that this actress isn't blind, but she did a good job. I love how we just totally are locked in right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a really good scene because I think it shows a change in Ben that we needed to see. Where Ben goes from being super depressed because his wife left him and he doesn't accept who he is. But now this girl, Abigail, comes along and is like, or Alicia, sorry, not Abigail. This girl, Alicia, comes along and she's blind, so she doesn't care what he looks like. She cares about who he is. Right, and I think that's
I forgot that the mask was given to him by the people of Latveria. And it's supposed to be like a symbol of Latveria, and that's why. And I was like, no, Latveria is not supposed to be this. I don't remember. I don't know. I think that's kind of cool that the face, the armor, like his whole shtick was supposed to be kind of inspired by Latveria. If that's the case, because looking at that mask now, I didn't notice that it was given to him by the people of Latveria.
Yeah. Well, and earlier, his prime investor...
Yeah, where before he kills, like, you should go back to Latveria.
Uh-huh. So, yeah, mentions Latveria. But, again, this is Platinum Bob.
Platinum Bob.
This isn't Doom.
Platinum Bob. This is not Doom. Doom is a arrogant, prideful character. He has always been this competition, and after being slighted by Reed Richards, always competing with him and blaming him for the accident that scarred his face, he... and we're not talking like a Zuko scar. We're talking he is like... His face is destroyed.
It's deformed. It's
I
not,
love
it's not
her
just
glasses. She's so cute with glasses. That's so cute. Sorry, I love Jessica Alba. I had the biggest crush on her. Her and Jennifer Love Hewitt from Ghost Whisperer, if anyone knows that. They were like the two women I was obsessed with from 10 to 12. And then I forgot who else I had a crush on. But Jennifer Love Hewitt and Jessica Alba, back when I was preteen to young teenager, I loved them. Still do. If those two women were ever to say hi to me, I'd be like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's Jessica Alba. Like, I would scream.
Uh-huh.
Just, ah! Just like that. Oh. But again, the acting is cheesy. A strong man. I do like. It's so cheesy.
Uh-huh.
So cheesy.
Here's the thing about Mr. Fantastic, right? He's able to change his form to be whatever, right? So, like in comics, some of the comics, for example, he'll create tools with his fingers, or
he turns them into big hammers.
Or in like the Lego video games. I know that it's Lego and they're video games, but shut up.
It's still they do a great great job. Don't ever disrespect the Lego Marvel. They do wonderful.
No, they do. And
okay.
There's several episodes where he turns into like a power drill, where he turns into like a giant screwdriver to screw something in.
Think of Plastic Man from DC. Like
exactly.
They're
one and the same.
Yeah.
They're one and the same.
I love Plastic Man. I love
He is the most overpowered hero ever.
No, Mr. Fantastic and Plastic Man are pretty powerful. They can be Omega level because they can wrap around something and they can. That's why it was. Oh, you haven't seen Multiverse of Madness? I'm gonna shut up now. Oh.
But in reality, they can become anything. But yeah.
So this part where Ben is contentious, and I hate how sometimes they're in their uniforms, sometimes they're not. It seems like they're always changing clothes like so much, and I'm like, my brain, like it felt like they were filming scenes.
I feel like,
and they didn't, and it was so choppy.
Yeah, I do feel like it did show different days.
Yeah,
like it's not all happening in one.
No, it's not. But just now they're on a date,
time.
and he's wearing normal clothes, and now he gets back and he goes, "Let me get in my outfit." I don't know, because maybe he wants to stretch without ruining his clothes. I don't know. It's so
well. And earlier, his clothes stretched. His normal clothes stretched with him.
Not a lot, like because he had the dress shirt on. I think I think we just saw that from the camera angle, but it saw his clothes.
Yeah.
And I imagine when he was on the bridge, when he stretched, it showed his suit jacket with him, but that means his whole stomach was just belly. And I feel like the only reason he's in the suit now is to have this fight with Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, but yeah, it does make sense though, because their clothes did mold with their powers. So Reed does always wear that suit. He wears it because he stretches a lot. Just like Elastigirl. Edna made the suit just for her, and that's why she. So does that mean her other suit wasn't? I don't think her other suit was as good. She said it would restrict her to some abilities.
I don't remember. It's been too long since I've seen Incredibles.
Did you like the second one?
Eh.
Okay, that one's on my list, by the way.
It wasn't worth the 14-year wait.
No.
It was a decent movie. It was not worth the 14 years.
No. They should have made the kids older.
Yeah.
They should have gotten the original actors, got us new Jack. It should have been them as older adults, not the same day. It drove me nuts. I was like, oh, we're just going with this. Why did you wait so long? And it's like, well, I just wanted to. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's like with Avatar. I didn't see Avatar Way of the Water.
I haven't seen either of them.
You haven't seen the first Avatar? Really?
No, I haven't.
Oh, put that on your list. But I think the arguments of this movie make total sense. But the order they did them is so choppy.
I agree.
Johnny should have had many compulsions that we've seen. He's maybe he's trying to see how well he flies. He's doing all these crazy stunts because he's Johnny Storm. He's this stuntman, and now he's the Human Torch, and he's trying so hard to show off. He's not really thinking of being a superhero, but he's trying to be the next big stuntman. He's like, dude, I'm never going to get hurt. If I fall off the motorcycle, guess what I can do? Boom! And he flies off. And he's working fine. And then at the end of the movie, when we have the big catastrophe that you talk about, big fireballs coming towards like a little girl or some family, and Susan protects a bunch of the family, but Johnny sees the little girl, and he flies in and saves her. And he tears up after saving her because he's like, this is what it means to have these powers. Simple as that. That's honestly the cookie cutter method of each superhero movie, but you have to add more. But that's the heart of most superhero movies. Hulk is different because it's not a responsibility, it's a curse.
Yeah.
He can't control it. So what do you do when your powers cause other people harm? You have to hide it, lock it, and not embrace it, except at the end, he does his best to work with it. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, it's same premise as Elsa, right? Conceal, don't feel.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the idea of Professor Xavier bringing Elsa to.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how it should have ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of a little joke thing. Oh, look, it's Titanium Bob. I love that.
Platinum Bob.
Platinum Bob,
Platinum
sorry.
Bob.
Platinum Bob. Platinum Bob. Oh, sorry.
Iron Bob.
Iron Bob.
I am Iron Bob.
Oh my gosh. Yet another mistake from Mr. Fantastic. You know, I feel like an hour and 40-minute movie of even to 2 hours of the Fantastic Four could have been way better.
Yeah. I think with what they were given, they produced an okay movie.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'll probably give it the same.
But it's just that's not Doom.
Didn't age as well as it could have.
Yes.
It didn't age very well.
Yes. This is not Victor Von Doom to me. It's really
Platinum
hard
Bob.
for Platinum Bob. And that's what kind of kills it now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the thing. Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Fantastic. They got the four right. And I think you are absolutely right. This movie could have done without Doom. The contention should have been them either wanting these powers or getting rid of them. John, like Ben, we have like 4 different people. We have Sue. You know, it's now easier for her to hide. She doesn't mind that. But it's a lot. Ben, though, is like, I do not want this at all. I've lost my wife. Reed Richards is like, I have cursed these 3 people that I care about, including myself, and I need these to change. Johnny's like, I can do whatever I want. And you just have them all kind of struggling, working together. Maybe there's a fight earlier in the movie. And I'm sorry to say, but we never should have seen human Ben ever again. Maybe in a dream.
No, maybe in a dream, but no, not in actuality. Because, like you said earlier, the reason he became the Thing is because he had like a piece of asteroid that became part of him, or that merged with him.
It's a lot. He got hit the worst, and so he became the Thing.
Mm-hmm. And recreating that, I feel like recreating that storm wouldn't necessarily be recreating all of the same.
It's
effects.
way too much of a gamble of him to be like, I'm gonna hop in this machine. You could just die because it's a cloud of radioactive poison, basically. So you're just doing a big gamble. So lightning's gonna strike you twice. No, I think they had the option. They're like, this will cure us. We can do this. And then they have the catastrophe happen. If this was the MCU, I would just say that they just work with Ben to accept it. And they, at the end of the movie, though, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Reed Richards are like, Ben, you step. It's like the ending of Far From Home. Iron Man is like, here's your option. Do you want this? And Ben goes, no, I think I got this, and I'll just keep it. This is who I am now. So, because he like sees how much good he did, or you just say no. There's no cure for Ben because this is something way beyond. Because everything about him has changed. His heart. There is nothing flesh about him anymore. Everything is rock. So. This scene reminded me of the little sticky men that you throw against the wall. And I just died. Mr. Doom, are you okay? And he just throws him against the wall, and it's like Doom can massacre people, but he won't do it. He's not gonna Darth Vader a place unless he needs to make a big point. But for that, the face, the metal, the sleeping out.
This is Platinum Bob.
This is Platinum Bob, and now he's putting on the mask to help, cover his face that the people of Latveria gave him. I hate it. We could say that Latveria has this armor, and I don't know. There's so much you could have done better. It was just too
Maybe the armor
rushed, too fast.
fused with him.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I agree. This isn't Doctor Doom.
It's not.
I think it could be fun if Platinum Bob put on, or just his normal face when he turned metal, completely metal, looked like the Von Doom mask, like the Doctor Doom mask. And then maybe in the next movie, when we meet Doctor Doom wearing the Doctor Doom mask, everybody's like, Platinum Bob?
Platinum Bob?
We defeated you.
We defeated you. I don't know. Ugh, it's just... Ow. Oh, I forgot he did that to him.
Mm-hmm.
I did like how he freezed him. That was awesome.
Agreed.
That's what Doom would do. And the look of Doom right here, awesome. Works. That is Dr. Doom's face. That's his cowl. They got that.
That's his look.
But it's not Doom. Oh, it just... At least the mask and the kit. Yeah, it gives me Doom vibes. But it's like, why is he wearing a cowl? Why would he put a hood up? It just... I don't know. It just, again, it just seems rushed. Johnny here having to rush. I did kind of like how he had to jump off and be like, all right, if I don't get off this, my sister and Ben are going to die.
Yeah.
So, here we go. Flame on!
It's a good catchphrase.
It is a good catchphrase. Come on. But he doesn't have to say flame on. He just says it.
Yeah.
But it is a nice...
I do like how you can see the suit
Yes.
while he's made of fire.
They did a good job with that. In the second movie, when they switch powers, Susan goes on fire and her clothes all come off. I'm like, as much as I love to see Jessica Alba's body, that was lazy writing.
Yep.
What were we talking about?
Um,
You like the suit. You like how it shows on the side.
I like the suit. I do also like... This was clever. Him igniting
The garbage
barge. That was clever.
He's not an idiot. Johnny's not dumb.
No, well, and he went to MIT.
He went to MIT as well. Like
he was
they all
a scientist.
Yeah.
Like he was smart.
I don't know if originally Johnny was if he was that caliber, but none of them are like idiots. Ben is the lowest on the smart, but compared to a lot of us outside of here, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Oh, call me Doom. It's like, no.
Call me Bob.
Call me Bob. Dr. Doom. That means we have to make sure Doom gets an actual doctorate somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't like how she
maybe
forward.
a doctorate in science.
A doctorate in magic.
Yes.
Oh, she's invisible now.
Marco. Polo. Yeah. I think out of... I don't know. Out of all the villains that would be pulling something like this, the Doctor Doom that...
Oh, here's your favorite part.
Here it is. It's clobbering time. No.
Again, you needed to have some form of build-up. And I hate how he has like a big V. It's like, no. Okay, but his name is technically Von Doom, so fine. But
yeah,
it's... He looks stoned. He looks so chill right now. But there should have been a build-up of it's clobbering time. Whether previously in the movie, Johnny's teasing was like, say something stupid. Say you're gonna clobber me, I really think the football phrase of it being a cheer for when he was a football star, like it's clobbering time, because he was a offensive linemen and just would clobber through the defense. Like,
Yeah.
that could have worked. And then as a joke at the end, he goes, "Hey, Vic, it's clobbering time." Or like, but like, I've said but like a bunch. So if you're playing a drinking game with but like, enjoy yourself. I'll edit that out. We're editing a lot out.
It's like Bud Light, but like.
But like seriously. Oh, the clobbering time though. You're right. Super cheesy. The whole movie is the cheese. It is the cheesiest of cheese. It's almost 20 years old.
Yeah, that's true. I will say, this is a much more serious tone for the movie that they actually put in the movie than, like we talked about in episodes 2 and 3 with Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh my gosh.
They stuck with a tone in this movie, and that was good.
It had some comedy parts, but it really was, serious. There was a lot of
The transmission sticks.
Oh, I love that little humor. That's kind of, not again. Guardians of the Galaxy is what really changed superhero movies with that comedy. Because James Gunn brought his own comedy in, and everyone tried to do that. But this is what superhero movies was about. It had a lot of seriousness. It had a lot of action. And then there was some funny bits. But right here, Platinum Bob is going to impale Ben. That ain't funny.
No.
And she didn't even say a cheesy line when he tries to impale her. He's like, "I'll be right," and I like that. "I'll be right with you," and then goes in, and she doesn't say something cheesy. He just flings her back. And I love how they get the superhero stance. They're just standing there, and I do like this part. Like, "You three are pathetic." I think you mean 4. Like, it's just cute. Oh wait, no, he doesn't say that.
You missed me.
Oh, I swear one of them was like, "I think you mean 4. I did like in the second movie and again, I don't know if I want to watch the second one. But if we do, this will be a prelude to it, but Doom is with the shield, with the Silver Surfer's powers, and he's causing havoc, and Johnny takes all 4 of the Fantastic Four's powers and does a big fight, and he appears behind him invisible, and he goes, "As a friend used to say, it's clobbering time," and punches him with a big, multi-powered fist. Loved that scene.
That was a good scene.
I honestly think I enjoyed Rise of the Silver Surfer more than this one, in my opinion. I will say
I might have to agree.
Because Doom still became like a villain, because they did a natural way of him escaping, because the Silver Surfer broke him out on accident.
Mm-hmm.
He says he was going to help. They work together. They trap the Silver Surfer. He steals the shield, and he becomes the bigger thing. The Galactus thing was a little weak, but that's what you get.
I think the Galactus thing should have been more of a lead up to something bigger, like the Thanos thing. Because Galactus is supposed to be a celestial. Like, he is essentially a god.
Yeah.
Right? And
even though they're doing this to Victor, I like that Susan was bleeding, crying, and is exhausted after. And it just shows that
it's taking a lot of effort.
And I wish we would have gotten some, I don't know. I want there to be a hate for Doom, but I want them to recognize that he was someone who they were best friends with. Like, if I were to have done a second movie and Doom being the big bad and introduced at the end of the movie, it would have shown a lot of their friendship, like when they were young boys or when they first met each other. They were bunkmates. In college, they were bunkmates. They worked together. They became friends, and for them to become so separate, to become enemies like this, it just is shocking. And I would make it like the comics, or at least my interpretation is that Victor thinks that Reed is always trying to one-up him,
Mm-hmm.
but he isn't. He's just being Reed Richards. But Doom is just taking everything he does personally, and that's the issue. Mr. Fantastic is the Moby Dick to Doctor Doom's Ahab. He can never be satisfied until the white whale is gone.
Yeah.
And it just ends up destroying him more and more the more he tries. He could easily just go and do his own thing. He could have been content, been the ruler of Latveria. But because of his pettiness towards Mr. Fantastic, it causes him to become a villain. But the ending was good. I liked how they worked together. But
the way that it ended, the chemistry thing with rapidly cooling hot metal was clever. Yeah.
Names and shots. Ben wearing giant Nike shoes. Sorry, we're totally zoned out watching the ending. Oh. They're so cute together. Is this like months later? Did they finalize the divorce? Like, there's so many questions. But I guess not. I don't know.
No idea.
It's just weird. This is weird. I do like how Johnny makes the 4 in the sky.
Yeah.
And I would definitely add that because that's what the iconic thing he does. He just makes the 4 in the sky, and I'm in my head I'm going, that probably can't be good for the environment, but whatever.
Nope. No. Well, and I do like this part. It closes their
I love how it's supposed to be kneeling.
romance story, and he's still
her
stretched.
Yeah.
It's a good close to their failed romance, and it brings them back into to be what we expect them to be. Right? I don't know. I think it's really good.
I would save the marriage for the end of the second movie. If that my personal, and I know that like they do get married at the end of the second movie, but like that wouldn't be a thing until like the end. That's my notes, genius. Oh, not the worst movie I've seen. Definitely not worse than some of the movies I've seen the past couple of years, but.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, no more wisecrack, really. You call me Mrs. Sensitivity. That movie's huge. Oh.
I think him creating the 4 in the sky is a perfect end to the movie.
It is. And it's, again, a 3 out of 5 for me.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very big 4. I realize just how big that is. But I guess we'll have to really go through it one day. But I think that's kind of the end of our little discussion. I think in short, we both agree Doom should have not been in this movie, should have ended in a catastrophe, and them just learning to work together and accept their powers.
Yeah. Well, and I like to think about it this way. Think about it as the starter dungeon to a video game, right? This is their starter dungeon. The Fantastic Four are learning the ropes, how to be heroes, how to work together as a team, that kind of thing. And the final boss, quote unquote, boss of the, again, quote, dungeon should fit their level, and I guess also Dungeons and Dragons terms, they've got to fit the level, right? I'm not gonna throw a giant dragon at brand new adventurers.
No, you're not.
You got to build up to it. You got to fight a Cyclops first. You got to fight maybe a giant crocodile. I don't know. You got to work your way up to it, though.
You know what's crazy is the second movie is shorter than the first. Because this was an hour 40, and this is an hour 30.
Oh, the days when superhero movies were less than an hour, when they were less than 2 hours.
I think everything's been over 2 hours this past bit.
Uh-huh.
It's been crazy.
We've got Endgame. It's almost 4 hours.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I can sit through Endgame and I'd be happy. I turn it on.
Same. Endgame was good. It was a good 4 hours. 4 hours of this would have been too
No,
much.
if you made me watch both these movies in a row, I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. Well, is there any final thoughts you have for everyone, Tim, about the Fantastic Four?
No, just an apology. And a thank you for sitting through and listening this long. If you made it all the way to the end, thanks.
We hope you guys liked this discussion. We hope to do these more, and I liked it. I felt that it was good. There was a little... It felt good just to talk about a movie while we watch it.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
we already had ideas in our head about what we would change. And I felt it was good. This is one of the ways I imagine the podcast going, and I still would like to have a discussion day every now and then. And when we have people on the show, this is probably how we will do it. Or we will have our guests write their pitch, and we listen to them. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it in my head. But this is kind of what I imagined with most of our guests, because I don't think most of our guests are going to be like, oh yeah, here's my pitch that I worked on for 5 hours today, Tim.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Yeah. But also, the apology, both of us have ADHD, and we're sorry if there were lots of gaps, or if there were parts where we cut back to something from earlier, or we totally just we cut one bit short pretty abruptly.
Or Willem said something with his foot in his mouth because he's a queep. So yeah.
Yep.
I apologize for my queepiness, and I will probably edit it out so you will never know, except for this little hint here. Oh, well.
But yeah, that was good. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for doing this review, Willem. It was fun.
Yeah, I think it was good. So in short, though, we both agree. 3 out of 5, Fantastic Four. 2005 version. Anything above a 2, I don't know if I want to review it. And I know for a fact the 2015 Fantastic Four, no, I can't. Is that really a 10-year difference? Dang.
I think so.
And I love a lot of the... nope, I will go off on another rant, so we don't need that. So, but thank you, everyone. And maybe someday down the road, one of us will do one of these actual pitches, and this is how we hope to get better at this. We thank you for your patience, and thank you for those who have been listening from the beginning, the very few of you. We thank you so far, and in the future, say months and years from now, for those of you coming back and discovering our show, thank you for giving us a shot. And this is just me being optimistic and putting it out there that we hope that this is a show that many people listen to. So here's to another 8 more episodes and beyond. So hooray.
Hooray.
And with that being said, we will see you next week, and we will see you later pitches. Thank you.